Okay, looks like we're live, and we mute that before I can hear myself. So, ETM Hotep, welcome in peace to the Sesh Medew Netcher YouTube channel, the home of the Sesh Ma'a Ni Medew Netcher, and Sesh for short, But anyway, so welcome. Gonna buy a little time for anyone to tune in. It's Friday night. It's the beginning of the weekend, the week's end. Hope everybody enjoyed the week, had a good week, productive week. Um, if you got paid, make sure you spend your money wisely, save it up, invest, do all that good stuff. But this is your brother Wujao, and I'm not by myself, so I'll just pass the mic. Everybody can introduce themselves, and then we can just jump on in.
What's up? My name is Tamika. Mika, come up the videos, share, and subscribe.
By the way, y'all, real quick, Mika got her name from her family, renamed Florida Ta Mika, and so they running with that. So so y'all who are against people who think they're Egyptians, you know, go talk to Mika, because they actually believe that Florida is the land of Mika. Ta Mika. You got Ta Mary, Ta Nahisi, Ta Mehu, Ta Shemau, Ta Mika, Ta Shanika, all that stuff. Talk to her. No, I'm just playing. So Mika's like, nah, I don't need that. No. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hotel Puppet E, you're an Imicat. My name is Imicat and welcome.
What's up, family? This is Brother Chris.
All right. All right. So, matter of fact, let me put the link in now, early. If anybody wants to jump in, got some things to share, some things to say. Give me 1 second here. Grab this link. Oh, it would help, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm posting the link. I know it's a slight delay, so you all should have it now. And let's see if I can pin it to the top. And there we go. All right. So again, welcome. I know it's Friday. We want to do, be consistent with Friday. So, if you are interested in all things Kemet, then this is the place to be. You come chill out, learn something. We try to give some takeaways each and every time. It's a safe environment. We advocate having fun, but at the same time, do it with class, with discipline, with good character, and the whole nine. All right. So this is what you're going to get here. This is what you're going to see in our archives, and the archives speak for itself. So again, ETM Hotep, which is welcome and peace. You hear us say that a lot. You may hear us say a couple other phrases that I'll pass on, throughout the night or throughout any of these videos. I did some last time. You all should just become more familiar with. Like TU is yes, Nin is no, good Nafir, good night, Becca Nafir, good morning. Do us thanks, do thanks a lot. What are some other ones? Real, very, very, very common phrases that we say a lot. So we would just say Hotep or Shem to say goodbye. Shem Hotep is a farewell greeting when you depart from someone. All right. E means to come. E is to come. Et is for you grammar buffs out there. Et is a stative, which means that it is a state that implies a process has taken place. So et is you having come are now here. if that makes sense. So we just simply said in English as welcome. Because to welcome somebody, they had to travel, they had to come to you. All right. So same thing. And M preposition. Hotep is offering peace and things like that. We did a whole show on the word Hotep. Its cultural origin, basically how it functioned in a culture. So yeah. So I'm just rambling on to give everybody a chance to come in here. So Hotep Ghana Bonsu. What do you want us to call you? Because I know you've been on here quite a few times, but I'm not sure you have quite a long name.
I prefer Kana. Change the G to a K and pronounce it that way.
Oh, Kana. Okay.
Yeah, that's So I adopted that title. I told you before as my name years ago, but the reason why I adopted it is because my ancestry comes from the ancient kingdom of Ghana on my father's side.
Okay.
So that in the ancient kingdom of Ghana, the divisional kings or the warlords were called Kana, meaning literally warlord. So that's where the kingdom of or the nation of Ghana actually got its name from.
Okay. So so do you plan on changing the G to a K, or that's just
That was just, spelling wise, it was kind of, like a Gaddafi thing back then. I may do it one day, but right now all my documents have the G on it, so it's kind of painstaking to go back and.
Okay. So let me tell you something that may help you out with that. A K, the character K and the character G, they both represent phones that are velars, and they're the exact same, except the K is voiceless and the G is voiced. So it's the same thing going on between a K and a G as we see with the P and the B. The P
And
and the
as
B,
far as the Medew Netcher?
no. I'm talking about
Okay.
I'm talking about the sound.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So
In
so in
fact,
other words, I'm saying, and this may be for other people may pick up on it, is that a P and a B sound, P as in Paul and B as in boy, that those two sounds are identical with the only exception that one is voiced and the other one is not voiced. And the same as takes place for the K and the G. So that's why they interchange. I guess I'm saying that to say that they interchange within languages a whole lot. P's and B's interchange and G's and K's interchange a whole lot. All right. So I can understand. So Ghana and Ghana, they start off with velars, both of them. And P and B are bilabials. So we say labials, but they're bilabials because two lips. So they're labials, and G and K are velars. So, and that's interesting.
yeah, I did notice that, and I also noticed that I was I've been comparing the two languages lately, and I noticed that the I's and the R's, or is it the R's and the W's, kind of interchange like that as well. And I think maybe the L's in some cases, depending on what region you're in Africa and what language you speak, they kind of switch up like that.
Definitely L's and R's.
Right.
Definitely L's and R's. And you can see that, there's a phenomenon with Asian speakers, Chinese, people that speak Chinese or those languages. They definitely interchange when they're trying to speak English, the R's and L's like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they said they don't have any R words in I think in the Chinese and the Japanese there are no R words. Something like that.
It's something to really pay attention to. I mean, it'll stick out once you hear it.
Right.
So I don't know what you got going on, but I hear a lot of atmosphere noise, like you in a car or on a train or something.
I apologize. My AC was on.
Okay. All right, so we're going. MK, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna really quickly say because you started out by mentioning some common phrases that that people that we could use on a day to day. Like the Sesh Medew, the for the Radicate, and I wanted to just suggest a really good book for that gets you going with with those kind of phrases that you can use on a daily, and that would be Mejat Wefa by Dr. Rakedia Men. I'm going to put the link on the chat. And also in the on the beginner's book at the back, there's a few phrases, but the Mejat Wefa is pretty much made for that. So that's a good book for anybody that wants to start learning, phrases that they can use, because people always be talking about how can I use this, how can I use this in my life or whatever. But they are like nice phrases that people can start, getting, to use. So that's a good book.
Okay, excellent. And just a side note before we jump in on the freestyle, that when it comes to speaking Rodney Kemet, and let's first establish that we got two different things that we pay attention to. Rodney Kemet is the spoken language. That's the language. Sesh Medew Netcher is the writing system. Okay, so we have Rodney Kemet and Sesh Medew Netcher. Now, we have to pay attention to that difference when it comes to this language and its writing system, whereas in some languages, there is no distinction like that in naming. So, for example, when we write English on paper, when we write English, we call the writing English as well. Okay, so a lot of language will share the same name for the spoken aspect of the language and the written aspect. Even though English, we're using a Latin orthography, but we don't call it that. We call it English. We say English writing or manuscript, script, cursive or print your name, sign your name, print your name, use cursive or manuscript. And so we'll say things like that, but we have to kind of definitely put our radar on when we're talking about other languages, because there are distinctions and that can get confusing to people. Okay, so Rodney Kemet is the spoken, and then Sesh Medew Netcher is the written. All right, and then another thing, when speaking Rodney Kemet, today's pronunciations are by no means to be taken as if they're historically accurate. All right, so and we used to get that question a lot. So hopefully, we've definitely clarified that over time, because I don't see people asking about that too much anymore. But the way we pronounce these words should not be taken as if we're saying this is how it sounded in ancient times. So when we say things like Etium Hotep, Dua Dua'u, Netcher, Netcheru, Netcheret, and all these other different words you hear people say, Uncle Jasaneb, and everything like that, those pronunciations are modern conventions. Okay, so let's just make that crystal clear. Modern conventions. But there's a but in a positive way. Us pronouncing them, even if we're not pronouncing them historically accurate, it does not prevent us from knowing the meaning of these words. Okay, so just bear that in mind, because I've seen people try to argue and say things like, since we don't know the accurate historical pronunciation, therefore we don't know what it means. So they try to equate the two, and that is definitely a logical fallacy that needs to be broken. And so we break that each and every time. All right. So, yeah. Hotep to Sutek. Now, Sutek, that's great. That's interesting, because Unc Wuja Seneb, that is the word Weja. People say Uja, but it's actually Weja. That W is on the front, but they people just don't pronounce that W. It's actually Unc Weja Seneb. All right, so Unc Weja Seneb. All right, so let's jump into it. So, hey, click the link if you want to join. Don't be afraid. You're not going to be called out or anything like that. Maybe sometimes we do, but it's all in fun. We have fun over here. Okay, so we're gonna do some freestyle on the a section. I forgot who brought it up. Chris, was that you that brought it up, or June? Somebody brought it up.
It was both of us.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so you know, we're just gonna take a stab at it. Something short. We can't, freestyle. We can't spend a lot of time to translate an entire text or anything like that. So we just go through exercises, and hopefully you all can learn and take away from it. All right. So, yep. Unc never says my name. Man, a lot of people don't say my. I'm sorry. I'm responding to Sutek in the chat. He says the brother Unc never says my name correctly, and I really don't understand how that is though, because there are quite a few people who mispronounce my name, but it's like when I see it, to me, it sounds like how it's spelled. Well, I know the D may confuse people. That DJ combination may throw a little speed bump in there, but I don't know. Some people say Wuja. Some people say Wujaru with an R. I'm like, where do you see an R? So yeah, anyway. But it looks just like how it's spelled. Wu, like Wu-Tang, Wu, and then Ja, and then Oo. Man, it's it. That's it. All right. So, okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna go ahead and get it in for a second. But anybody have anything else to open up with before I just jump the gun?
No, not really.
Not here.
Okay. All right. I always kind of, want to kind of briefly just kind of see what's going on on the YouTube streets, because like I said, it gets a little chaotic on the YouTube streets. And some people send me links, and I thankfully thank them. I'm appreciative of people sending me video links with timestamps. You just don't understand, because I will see links, or I will see videos, and they'll be 2, 3 hours, 4 hours long, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna watch it. So, and then people will want to bring something to my attention, or want my opinion about it, or if it's dealing with the language specifically, they'll want me to chime in and help translate, or something like that, or something about Kemet. And if people share something with me and they don't have a timestamp, I'm not watching. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I'm just not gonna do it unless I have the time to do it. That it interests me to do it, I should say. But anyway, so yeah, I saw a couple of clips and stuff like that. Some things going on. Or you about to say something?
Nah, I was just saying that probably people said no, because there's probably a whole lot of stuff that would take the whole show.
You say it again?
No, I said, I guess everybody was quiet because there's probably a lot that went down that would probably take the whole show just to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about.
Yeah. I don't want to do that, but yeah. I just know, the Cliff Note version of things going on. My spidey senses are tingling. I think there's going to be a debate brewing up. I don't know what it is, but like I say this all the time, it happens twice a year. There's going to be an all-out debate where that pay-per-view type style debate happens twice a year. I think the pandemic COVID interrupted that, but roughly about twice a year, every year since I can remember. Twice a year. So something's brewing up. I know that the topic of Egyptians not being black or being black, I know that's still lingering out there recently. What else? What else is going on? That's not it right now. The main thing, still trying to prove or disprove Egyptians being black and stuff. I mean, man, to me, that's crazy. All right, so we're gonna jump in. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen over here. If anybody has anything to share, do it while I just get this shared real quick. Nothing. Nope. Nothing at all. Okay, so this is what we're gonna freestyle. I think I need to lock it on my screen for a while so everyone can see it. All right, there we are. I don't know what it is about today, but got a bunch of spam. Okay, so this is the text or the image that we are gonna go through a bit. So anyone on the panel, let's set this up. Just describe the 4 immutable steps to the transliteration and translation process. Let's just go ahead and describe it like we always do, and then we're going to jump in. So anyone on the panel, open your mic and go ahead. Okay, did I?
We have to go in and determine a direction first.
Okay, that's step 1. All right.
And this is reading, and these are in columns.
Well, no. I'm saying just
Oh.
name all 4 steps, just in general right now, and then we're going to do them one by one for this.
Okay, so the 4 steps are, first we determine the direction in which to read the signs or the glyphs. And then the second step is to identify the glyphs. The third step is to group them into words. And then the fourth step is to, come up with a sensible translation. So yeah, step 3 was to group them into words and then look them up in the dictionary. And then step 4 is to come up with a sensible translation.
All right. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So now, Chris, all right, let's get into this. So what's step 1? Let's make that determination for this particular piece that we're looking at. What is step number 1? What's the resolution for step number 1?
All right, so excuse me, we're reading. This is a retrograde text. It's in columns, and it's reading from left to right.
Okay. Now let's clarify that, because you're not wrong, but I'm sure that will confuse everyone.
I'm sorry.
Because what you just described is you described the column order, but not the way in which to read the glyphs themselves.
Oh, okay. So let me go back. So we're reading in columns. We're reading from top to bottom, and we're going from right to left.
Within each column.
Within each column, yes.
All right, yeah, there you go. So right. So within each column, you're going to read into the glyphs as usual, and it's going to be from right to left. But so now go into which direction are the columns going now? Like how, like which way?
Okay, the columns are going from left to right.
Okay, and what you called it earlier, what's it called again?
Retrograde.
Okay, is that the same as Mercury in retrograde?
Wow. I guess in some sense it is, but but no.
Do we have to don our crystal, our copper hats and mask and
Brother, I beat you. I got my linen on with the pleats.
oh, the linen with the pleats. Oh, hey, I tell you what, if you got that on, do me a favor. Just look at the next 5 Powerball lottery numbers, and then toss them back in the past to me.
Right.
I could definitely use that. But okay, so
Yeah, so how would you know it's in retrograde?
okay, that's a good question. That was for Chris. Who was that for?
For Chris or for those for anybody? But Chris, since you mentioned it was in retrograde, so how do you know it's in retrograde?
Yeah, so for me, I guess I'm cheating. I look at words and within the text or in the column. Like, for example, if I look at the first column, and this, I don't want to confuse anybody, but if I look at the first column and go down, if I look at the last word, if I go from left to right, that makes better sense to me than if I go from right to left. So I'm looking at words or phrases to try to figure out, to try to justify reading from left to right. And then the animals too. If I look at the Medew bird, he's facing to the right. If I look at if I look at the leg, the foot, in the first column on the left, the direction it's facing. So that tells me that it's reading, from left to right, and then I'm looking at words at the end of the columns, at the beginning of the columns. And I probably just confused.
Yeah, you just confused the entire planet.
Okay, so if I get it correctly, you probably have to, when you say the words at the end, it's like you're trying to find the next word, and then that will tell you from what direction to go.
Yes. To you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so knowing, intuiting, not that eye.
He said third eye, intuiting. No, let's call it what it is though. Because I want to make sure this is clear. Retrograde determination comes from context. All right, it's just that simple. And so normally, this is what will happen in the process. You will start. Okay, so you identify the direction to read the glyphs, which is from this way, which is from right to left. And so because of that, the first thing somebody's going to do is going to read from this and treat this as column number 1. And so they're going to make an attempt to read this as column number 1. And then when you read column number 1, when you read this column by itself, isolated by itself, there's nothing really going to stand out to you too much. It's not until you get to this end and then try to jump over here as if this column is a continuation over here. But then you're going to say, well, wait a minute. This don't make any sense. It's at that moment that, an alarm should go off. And then you have to say, well, wait a minute. Could this possibly be retrograde? The technical term is columnar retrograde. We just say retrograde for short. But the columns are in retrograde. So because it won't make sense when you jump from here and continuation, now you say, well, wait a minute, this is probably columnar retrograde. Let me start at the other end. And so that will be a very brief trial and error thing to do. And so then you start it. And then our knowledge of text, we understand that the red ink versus the black ink, the red ink is usually the beginning of some kind of portion of text. Okay. And so if you start here and then work your way down and then jump to this column, is notice how the red continues. That kind of gives us a hint. And then we read down, it'll start making sense. It'll make more sense based on the context. So that's really the key to understanding retrograde.
Plus, okay. I was just saying that plus speaking of the red ink to start the titles or the beginnings, of some text. And then you can see the way those different sections are portioned, where the part with the Benue bard has its own section, where there's a yellow column that splits those two sections. So you would know that within that, every text, all the text within that area is actually for that particular section. And then you see on the top where it starts with the red, so you know probably that will solidify, whatever assumption you have that this is retrograde, because it starts on the red. And also for the other part, it starts on the red on the left side.
Okay, I think everything you said was excellent, except this portion associated with this bird actually starts in a section that's completely sectioned off from the bird, which starts down here.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll see that. Go ahead and read it. We'll see.
Right. So the hint is that the text wouldn't end in red.
No.
So if this text was
see, yeah. Say no more.
Okay, right.
That's exactly it. Yes.
All right. So we
Got you.
All right. So
yeah, scratch everything I said.
So this is the beginning of this particular portion. So this is actually where we're going to start from. Right here is the word. Well, we'll get into that. All right. So we determined. So now, if you did not know what retrograde inscriptions are, hopefully you know what it is now. So to briefly say it again, it's better to call it columnar retrograde, so you'll always remember what it's dealing with. It's the columns are going against the grain. So like Mercury in retrograde, as people like to emphasize when that happens, it's when Mercury is going the other way from its normal flow in relation to the Earth. And so it doesn't spin the other way around the sun now, but it appears that way, from the vantage point of Earth. So it's in retrograde. And so column retrograde means that the column order is going against the glyph order. So you're going to read the glyphs from right to left this way within the column. But when you jump from column to column, you're going to jump from left to right. You're going to go this way. Okay. That is columnar retrograde. And what I was going to say before, though, is that, like I said, that exercise, that brief trial and error is how you will discover it. But above that, you'll start to get used to certain text that the scribes use that format. And it's definitely in the books of the dead, as they call it, as well as the underworld text in tombs. And one of the rationales behind it is that think of it as a motion picture where today we have movies. And so the producer and the director, especially the director of the movie and the writers, they film movies or record movies in scenes. And they go from one scene to the other, to the other, to the other. And so the director's job and everybody else's job is to make it seamless. And they want your mind to travel through the story in a certain direction. And when we watch movies, we'll have what's called a flashback in the movie, where the movie will be set in a certain time, certain date, and then everything proceeds forward like regular time. But then somewhere in the movie, the character may have a flashback or go backwards in time. And we call them flashbacks. And usually they'll film that in a different, with different effects. They make it a little blurry, a little hazy, so you'll know it's a flashback and whatnot. And things like that. So that will go against, but we can indicate that. Now, I'm saying that because obviously they didn't have video cameras in movies in ancient times, but in the tombs, the reader would follow the columns and they would be led through the story but through different scenes in the story, and to go from west to east or east to west or the northwest and end up down in the southeast of the tomb, depending on what wall. You know, you're going from wall to wall, scene to scene, top to bottom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you're actually traveling as someone watching the story unfold. Okay, so just keep all those things in mind. And remember that to the ancient Egyptians or the Remich, the east is on their left side, which is opposite of us. Okay, so the beginning of the day starts on the left. So everything that begins and starts and comes into being or whatever takes place on the left side. And when things finish or the ending or completion, et cetera, that happens on the right side. And then the cycle happens again. So you got to kind of understand that to see why these texts go from the east or the left and completing on the right. Okay, so anyway, those are a couple of things. All right, so let's go forward. So that's step one. All right, so step two is to identify all of the glyphs on here. And I always say all of the glyphs like that because it sounds like a lot. But by the time you want to go ahead and do things like this, there are a lot of glyphs that you would have had to have already memorized and know. So it sounds like it's a lot to do, but over time, it'll become less and less tedious for you. All right. So you will know you should already memorize what's called monoliterals or uniliterals glyphs, so you wouldn't have to look those up. And then as you become accustomed to others, you won't have to look those up either. So for us, let's just kind of fly through a couple of these. So outside of monoliterals, let's identify some glyphs. So you all just tell me, direct me, and I'll move the arrow to where you are.
In that beginning section, right there in red where you're at, we have the bread loaf. You said monoliteral, yeah?
No, everything but the monoliterals. Anything.
Oh, okay. We have the heifer.
Okay.
And we have
wait, when you give a glyph, give us the transliteration.
heifer, XPR.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Another one.
We have the mummy. The upright mummy.
Okay.
XPR as well, I think. Can't remember. But what else we have here?
All right. Anything else? I mean, you can guide me anywhere over here. All right. Let's do this. I'll point to some. That way we won't confuse. I'll point to some, and then you all tell me what it is. All right. So we're going to jump to this one right here.
That's Med.
Okay. Yep.
D.
All right. Here. What about this I?
Yeah.
What's the
So,
translation?
IR.
IR. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Here. All right. This glyph. Everybody and their mama should know this glyph.
Yeah, that's the Scribble palette.
Transliteration.
And can be translated as Sesh. S uppercase S.
You sure it's not the other way around?
Oh, sorry, Sesh. S uppercase S.
Okay.
Backwards.
All right. All right. Okay, so let's point to this one here.
That's Hetep.
Okay, transliteration.
Capital HTP.
Okay, excellent. Ikea. Now let me make a comment. Now, this inscription, the glyphs that we're looking at, they're not the precise surgical monumental carved glyphs. Okay, it's not the precise Sesh or Sesh Medew Netcher. This is what scholars would call a schematic version of that formal monumental script, aka cursive hieroglyphs. Now, why they say cursive, I have no idea, because it does not look cursive in the traditional sense that we know. But that's what scholars have agreed to call it. But we kind of are hard-headed with that, and we refer to it as simplified Sesh Medew Netcher, because it's the same thing. You can make out each individual glyph just like the monumental inscriptions. We just understand that it's in ink and it's on a different medium. So instead of carved in stone or wood, it is written with ink and on papyri. That's the only difference. And so obviously it's not going to have that level of detail as if you can carve it. All right. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understands that. So, and I say that because some of the glyphs will look a little less defined. All right. So it may look a little different. Like, for example, this is a reed leaf. Now we know a carved reed leaf looks a little, it has this other line attached to it that this one's missing. Okay. And there's two of them here. Okay. So I just want to point that out. All right. So let's move on to another glyph. Let's see. Let us move to here. About that bird.
Pintail duck.
Okay. Is it flying? Is it a flying bird or
Alighting.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Indeed.
okay? All right. All right, let's move to another glyph. Let's see. Hmm.
Oh, I was asking. I didn't say. Sorry.
Okay, this glyph right here. I'm pointing to right there.
That's the that's the Netcher, NTR.
Okay, so give us a transliteration again, one more time.
NTR.
Okay, very close. You're like hot, but not hot enough.
What do you want? A capital something? Capital.
I want what it is.
Okay. N capital TR.
Okay, excellent. You were breaking up a bit, but I heard you. N capital T R.
Yes, sir.
That's correct. Yep, there you go. Yep. Remember, manual decodage is anal. It is very precise. So don't take it out on me. So we got to make sure we are transliterating it correctly. Okay.
Never that. Never that.
All right. So let's do. Let's see. Let me pick one more. Then we can move on. Let's pick. Okay. Let's pick this glyph right there.
The Neb.
Okay. Transliterated though for us.
NB.
Yes. N as in Nancy, B as in boy. All right, good. Okay, all right, so that's enough. So that's step 2. Remember, step 2, you have to identify all of the glyphs, and that process will become faster and faster the more you practice. Okay. There's nothing really rocket science about that. It's just that as a beginner, it will take you time and it will seem like it's a long, tedious thing, but that's part of it. That's part of what you have to go through. All right. So now we're at the step 3. Now for freestyling, we kind of blend these steps, step 3 and 4. Okay, because we're not using the books or anything like that. So we're gonna identify words, and we might as well say what they mean, try to discern their meaning, and then we'll try to round it off and give a sensible translation of whatever portion we cover. Okay, so let's identify some words. So you all, guide me with this arrow, and or I could do it the other way around. I will point to some things. You all tell me if you see a word, not just a glyph, but a word. Okay, so let's start. Let's see. Let's start. Where do I want to start? Okay, let's start here. Now, my arrow is not really going to work for this, but right here in this area. So in this general area, do you see a word?
Yeah, I don't. I see what I think is a W, but
Okay, that's good. I mean, that's exactly what it's pointing to. But do you see a word in the nearby glyphs that you should group together to form a word?
To you.
no, I can't. It's not really clear to me.
Okay, as a matter of fact, let me blow it up because and I apologize. I'm not monitoring the chat. So if there's any questions in the chat, I apologize. But let me blow this up though. I know people may not have been able to see it very well. So let me blow it up and we'll just do it in portions. Okay, so now in this general area. So now we have a big portion.
The word helper.
Okay. And wow, there's a big delay. I'm actually watching me still blow the image up
Me too.
on the YouTube side. Okay. All right, so that's okay, that's good. So who that was? Chris. Okay, yes. That is Kepper. So it starts with the beetle, and where does it end, Chris?
It ends right down where the 3 strokes, the 3 dots are at.
Okay, right here. All right. Now, what about, is this a word here? If so, what is that word?
It's a bilateral. That's
Okay, excellent. But let's identify the word now. Those 2 glyphs right there together. What word is that?
T Keparu.
No, he already identified Keperu or Keperu. So I'm looking for this word before Keperu. What is that word? These 2 glyphs right here.
IRT.
Okay. Yep. Iret. All right. So we just say it as Iret. So far we have Iret, Keperu. All right. Iret, Keperu. And he said that the Keperu ends with these 3 dots or strokes. So what is this here? Can anybody identify this one glyph as a word? Say again.
It means off. I think I'm rushing.
Okay, I think your volume is low. Could you I don't know if you need to get closer to the mic.
Sorry, let me try something.
Can you hear me now? Test, one, two, test.
It's a little too loud.
Oh, sorry.
All right, there we go.
Better now?
Yes, excellent.
Okay,
I don't
thank
know
you.
what you did. Well, that was like some turbocharged microphone. I don't know where you get that from.
Right?
I was modeling the volume.
Oh, okay. All right, so there you go. So all right, so I'm sorry. So if you just repeat what you were saying. Did we lose him?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
It's M.
Okay, yes. Okay. But what would that word represent? The owl. What word?
Oh, the owl,
Okay.
bird owl.
What how will we translate it?
Okay, it looks like off. It's a preposition.
Okay, excellent. That's what I'm looking for. Yep. There you go. Preposition. All right. Now, so let me just say this. And this is I guess a grammar, what do you call it? A grammar note. Now, in when you're crossing over from language to language, which we say trans, so we're translating from language to language, preposition is probably the most is the class of words that's the most kind of open. Like I don't want to say obscure, but kind of open because of what prepositions are. Prepositions, prepositions. So it's, in other words, preposition is the class of words that you will rarely have a one-to-one corresponding from one language to the other. But as long as you know it is a preposition, then that will help you zoom in on the semantics, on the meaning. Okay, so for example, this owl represents a preposition, but it could represent a number of prepositions. It could be with, of, as, even on, sometimes, and so on. What say it again?
In?
Oh, and in. Yep, exactly. In, within, in, of, as. Okay, so we have to.
Can you point to actually what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm pointing to the owl right here. The arrows on it.
Oh, okay. The big blue one. All right.
Yeah. Yep. So it's excellent if you can just make a determination that it's a preposition, and that would be a big help. All right. Context will determine which is the best way to translate it, either as, of, in, and so on. Okay. All right. So far we have Iret, Keperu, Im. All right, we're gonna go on further. So I'm gonna have to pull this down because I increased the size. So pulling this down. Now we're gonna go up here. So in this general area, does anyone see? Does anyone see a word? If we would group any of these glyphs together, what word do you see?
Yes. I see Bennu.
Bennu. All right. So it starts with this glyph, and what is that?
That's the leg for beat and monoliteral.
Okay, and where does it end?
The word ends right at the bird.
Right here.
Yes.
So this bird glyph in this word functions as what?
I'm not sure if it will function as a determinative or it would be for the word Benue itself, and then there would be phonetic complements.
So you're saying that this word is Benue, Benue?
Oh, no. It won't be Benue, Benue if there are phonetic complements. If the B and W will be phonetic complements, would it be?
Okay, so do you think it's likely
That
that
is a determinative, and then so it would be Benue with okay, so here I see. So it would be Benue, and then those Benue, and then I guess the NW would be the phonetic complement for the nuble, and then you have the determinative.
all right, there you go. Okay, so the Benue bird itself is the determinative for the word Benue.
Yes.
Okay. And that
Oh,
happened.
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I wanted to say that I noted real quick. You know how I was saying down there when you were saying that if you go down where there was the Iret Keperu M, and then we came back up,
Yeah.
and you said that it would start from there.
Yes.
And I just wanted to note that in this kind of instances, because from what we've seen, it would make sense that it would actually start from there and go up there, as opposed to what I was saying. Because if, let's say, I was thinking that it was starting, that the red could start down there and then go to the next column on this other section, that's where I would hit like a roadblock, because it would not make sense where you have M and then Poo on the second column on the right, on the left section.
Right here.
Yeah. No. The next column. Down there. Down the second column on your left side. Yeah. Yes. Right.
Okay, I think you just confused the whole planet.
Okay, so if you zoom out a little bit. Okay, yeah, so see how where it starts with Iret, Keperu, and then you go to M.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's say what I was saying, and then would make somebody want to go to the left, correct?
Okay.
And say, yeah. So then once I would go there, that's when I would hit a roadblock with what I was saying. Because then you have M and then Poo. E.
Okay.
And that would not make any sense. And I would have to rethink what I just said. So these are the kind of, things like that would, once if you're theorizing wrong, then that's how you catch yourself making an error and you correct yourself. I just wanted to note that.
Indeed.
All right. All right. So we are at Benue. Now, in this next little portion, does anyone recognize any word or words?
Yeah, it looks like Medew.
Okay, good. What else?
Kind of get lost in the sauce after that one. I'm not sure.
All right, anyone else?
Jed.
Okay.
Right
Jed,
to you.
this should be familiar to everyone, really. This whole phrase.
Jed Medew in.
Okay, say it again.
Jed Medew in.
Right. So we have Jed Medew in. We have the reed leaf and the water ripple, the med staff, and we have the Colburn repose that we commonly see in this phrase, Jed Medew in. All right. Jed Medew in. Okay. So because all of that is in red, and I think I need to shrink this down a little bit. I just want to, I can't get them all in there at the same time. But because all of that's in red, let's give a translation so far of all that that is in red. So we have Iret Keperu M, then we have Benue Jed Medew in. So what does that all of that translate to? So let's start again. So we have Iret Keperu M.
It is the beget or the bring it forth of the bird.
Okay, say it one more time.
The the practitioner of the bring forth the
Okay, you say of the
doing
bird.
forth bird.
Okay, all right, good. Okay. And then what about that Jed Medew in part?
Speaker of truth or something like that. Uh,
Okay.
the one
Close.
who's something like that. The one who speaks.
Kind of close. Anybody want to help out?
Words spoken by.
Right. So words and then spoken by. Okay. So Jed, all right, let's just break this down. Jed is the verb to speak or to say. And then med, or in this case, it would be a shortened form of medu, words. And then in is by, which is going to set up an agent and it's by, and it's going to be someone after that. But words spoken. So spoken will be first, spoken words by, but we say it as words spoken by. Words spoken by, and then we'll see what comes after that. And usually it's somebody's name and name and or titles. But let's iron this out though. This first part. Iret keperu m benu jed medu in. So that's the whole phrase. Iret keperu m benu jed medu in. And so iret comes from the verb ir, which is to do by itself. But then different meanings for it, will imply. So in this case, it'll be iret keperu. So it is the performing or the doing of transformation. So it's the performance of transforming M as, and then we have the binu. Okay, so that's what this text, this opening portion is saying. The performing or the ritual, because here's where a cultural context will come into play once you start to explore more text and you just become more familiar, because one of the titles of the king has something to do with the word ear. And by me saying that, does anybody know just from that hint?
As far as their what they call their titularies.
Yeah. It usually comes after. It's like part of the epithets of kings or titles that a king will have.
It's like action, like the Lord of action or doing.
Yeah, but what's the phrase?
Are you looking for the one for like the one lot, or I can't remember if it was a lot of doing things?
Neb ir.
Yeah, gotta be
Etiquette.
There you go.
Neb in there.
There you go. Neb etiquette.
Yeah.
So ket is thing and ir is to do. So it's the master of doing things, but we say the master of ritual. So he's the Lord of rituals. And so iret keperu is the ritual of transforming as, and then we have the binu. Okay, so iret keperu m binu jed medu in. And jed medu in really sets it up for what comes after. So words spoken by, and then we get into the next portion. So in this whole portion here, what words or word or words do we see here? And I should really just have a box here so we can so y'all can see.
Well, we'll see it.
Hopefully y'all can see my box there. And let's go to this right here. So let's probably lighten that up a bit. All right, move this out the way. Okay. So let's do it like that. All right, so let's break this part down.
Right, we have Wasir.
Okay, Wasir. All right. We have Wasir here.
Look like the Sesh.
Yep.
Glyph.
That's correct. Wasir, Sesh, and what else?
I want to call that. You're moving past me. It looked like we get into a Tawi type of thing.
Not quite. I can see why you say that, but no, it would actually be Tau if that was the case, but no.
Is that a moot?
Nope. Now this is actually tricky, but at the same time it's not, because this is the most popular name associated with the Book of the Dead.
It's Anu.
Say it again.
Anu.
Okay. I knew. Now that's what we would be inclined to say. I knew, and then but how do we account for these double reed leaves?
E.
Right.
Why?
Right. We would transliterate as a Y. So now normally we would say Anui, but we don't call this person by that name. This is the most popular person when it comes to the Book of the Dead. So who can guess their name?
Anu.
Ani.
There you go. Ani. So this is the Osiris, the scribe, Ani. So these are two of his titles before his name. His name is Ani. But when we're looking at the glyphs, it would look like it would be Anui. But this is very, very questionable because the plural stroke determinative, or the three-stroke determinative, I should say, is a determinative, will come at the end. And because this is in the middle of his name, this is what caused some scholars to start speculating. So scholars are not fully settled on the correct transliteration and or pronunciation of this person's name. But everybody's agreed with it.
So can you go through it again? Just like breeze through it.
Yeah, so we have the vulture, the water ripple, 3 strokes, 2 reed leaves, and the seated man.
Mm.
So if we were to take this one by one, it would be Anui, but we pronounce them as Annie. And so this water ripple and the 3 strokes is what is puzzling. You know, it creates a little question mark.
Excuse me. Doesn't this U W doesn't it a gender designance?
The gender?
Yeah, doesn't it?
You talking about the 3 strokes as a W?
The three strokes indicates that the N is it's new, but isn't it indicating gender designation? masculine one, a male one,
well,
instead of plural?
It's plural.
it could, but not necessarily. And then also, the three strokes would normally come at the end. It would come towards the end. So this is, like I said, this is, scholars are, they're in speculation mode about this name and have been for quite a while.
Okay, thank you.
And so, some people say that his name was because it's odd. It is odd for sure. Though that water ripple and those three strokes is what's throwing his name off a bit. But it's clearly his name, and he was a scribe. So like I said, it's speculation. So we could probably do some research on that and do a presentation on Annie's name. I know we spoke on it before, but that was like maybe 2 years ago. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's go down to this portion here, and we're gonna see where I can end this at. Let's just end it right here. This portion to keep it going.
Maheru.
Okay, excellent. Makeru. What does that mean?
The truth of voice.
Okay, yep. True of voice. Yes. And we could speak more, elaborate on that within the culture, true of voice, like why is that so, okay, what else? Let's keep going. Anyone?
Imhotep.
Okay, Imhotep. Okay, so let's stop here, pause for a second. So we have all together again. We have Eret, Keperu M, Benu, Jed Medu in, Wasir Sesh, Ani, Maheru, Imhotep. So as far as all of that I just said, who can give us a more smooth out translation? What does that mean? What does everything I just said mean?
Justified is it's another translation, the justified one.
Oh yeah, Makeru, justified.
Yeah.
True voice.
No, but I'm saying the entire thing so everything that we've done so far, starting back from the beginning. So we have Eret, Keperu M, Benu, Jed Medu in, Wasir, Sesh, Ani, Maheru, Imhotep. So that's what we have so far. So what does all of that translate to?
Bringing forth true voice.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Wait a minute.
That's pretty.
Wait a minute. Don, you went from the very beginning and went right snap to the you left out everything.
It would be the ancestral the ancestral scribe and he justified the which transformed which leading the ritual of transformation of the bird.
Okay, yes. So
okay, I'll give it a try from the red.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we started with.
Let me just make it clear. So that there wasn't wrong what you just said, but let's see if we can smooth it out. Go ahead, Emika.
Okay, so so you said the doings or the performances in of the forms as Benu, and then words spoken by Weser, the scribe, Ani, through a voice, in peace or in rest or at rest.
Okay, all right, that's good. So the ritual of transforming as a Benu bird, the words spoken by the Osiris, the scribe, Ani, who is true of voice in peace. All right. So that's basically what we have so far. All right. Now we don't have time to go through the entire thing at that pace because we'll be here till like 1 a.m. So I think that section can give the gist, and the section we did was this part. We did that, and then we did down to here just so people can see. I'm gonna highlight it where we stopped right here. Okay, so that's what we just translated. Okay. And I know it's a little smaller. I shrunk it so you can see it all at one time. But that's what we just did so far. It had kept it. So somebody recited with Egyptology speak, as we say, Egyptology speak. But somebody recite that. Everything that's in green.
Go ahead, Emmy Cat.
Yo. Okay, let's see. So Iret, Keperu, Benu, Jed, Medew, Basir, Sesh, Ani, Ma, Kiru, Hetep.
Okay, excellent. Somebody else do it. Same thing. Go ahead, Donnie. Since you volunteering people.
I ain't ready. I ain't ready, man.
Okay.
I ain't ready.
Dara.
Okay. Iraj. Oh, sorry. It wasn't me.
Yeah. No, I butchered your name and I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. Iraj, Keperu, Benu, Jed, Medew, and Usi, Sesh, Anu, Maheru, Hetep.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else want to give it a shot? Who else do we have in here? Mika has been unseasonably quiet.
I think she left. Did she go to sleep on us?
Nah, she walks when she sleeps too, so she can do it.
Yeah.
Mika, you want to give it a shot? I'll pass.
Oh, something wrong with my headphone. I can't hear.
Okay. All right.
Go funny.
That's perfect timing. My headphones. What had happened was my headphones. Okay, so that's all the excellent job. That's a good job. So what we've done, we've demonstrated a bit of the 4 steps with this short portion of this inscription. All right, now obviously this comes out of the Ra'u Niu Peret Emheru, or the Book of the Dead, as they call it, of Ani. And this portion is a portion of a series of transformation rituals. Okay, these are rituals to transform into or as this or as that. And as you can see, if I move my arrow over here, this one begins the same way. Notice that this begins the exact same as this. Iret Keperu M, Iret Keperu M. But instead of transforming into the Benu bird, it's transforming into something else. And then Jed Medew in Wasir Sesh Ani Maheru. Okay, so it's similar, but this part is different. All right. So
Interesting.
I'm just giving you a,
So
okay.
just I'm saying just to be clear, because you say these are like rituals to transform. So are you trying to say that somebody's trying to transform into like Benu bird or like canoe, transform into canoe?
Oh, no, well, that's a whole nother conversation of what this is, what the reality behind all of this is saying.
Yeah, because you have to be a little bit clear so people don't take it out of context.
Yeah, I mean, none of this stuff, like, people should not take this stuff literally, like literally, and we always talk about that. And that's a big, huge, that's a huge problem that we have among, in the so-called conscious community and stuff, where people will read things like this and treat it like how they treat the Bible, where they cherry pick what's literal, what's not literal, whatever fits their already, preconceived biases and things like that. So we don't do that, and we shouldn't do that, period. But we do our best to keep that out. So no, a person is not actually transforming into a bird or to the ba of Atum or whatever the case is, none of that stuff. Okay, so we're not.
One of the things I'm looking at is forming words, and getting better on that, recognizing the words and seeing the words. So
Yeah, that takes practice. So hopefully, so let me ask you this. In practicing that, what is your best helper? What helps you a lot? What helps out a lot with that? To
just
determine to understand where a word ends and another one begins.
you have like I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and correct me, please. But I would just say, like, you have the stroke, which just says, "Hey, I'm saying what I'm saying," and then you have what's the other one? Uh, it's kind
I
of slipping me.
I know you got it. That's the one I'm looking for right there. That one.
Just
It's a function of glyphs, like the glyphs function in that way that helps indicate where a word ends and another one begins.
yeah, that's what. But man, you ain't sat down with me. I got 10,000 questions, but uh, determinative. I'm thinking determinatives.
There you go. That's it. That's the magic word right there. Determinatives. Determinatives help determine the meaning of the word, but they also help determine where words end and another word will begin.
But so while I have you here, one of the things that I struggle with was the the strokes, the two strokes, and they were like uh, I guess you would say they were lateral strokes or something like that, like at an angle,
Oh yeah, diagonal strokes. Uh-huh.
and it serves as the plural. Am I correct?
No. Diagonal strokes are transliterated as a Y, and they could indicate duality. Not all the time, but they could indicate dual. Not plural, but dual.
Okay.
So if I would say, like, for example, if I would say Nebti, that's the two ladies.
The and that's fresh too. Fresh on my mind
Okay, yep.
because you have the moot that's on the net basket, and you have the cobra, uh,
Yep.
the wajet.
Yep.
So it's just super fresh on my mind.
Okay, right. Senti,
The two sisters. Do you want to unpack that
two
or
sisters.
no?
Good. Now for masculine, it'll be that wy, tawi, sinwi, etc. All right. So That's good, but that's what helps out with that. But all right, so that was good. I mean, we don't have time. I don't want to make this long, so I don't want to go any further. But if you want to look more into this, and this goes for anybody who's listening, this is out of the so-called Book of the Dead of Ani. And if you know a little bit of history out the book about the Book of the Dead, period, the book, our modern day scholars separate these texts by these names. They call it the Book of the Dead now. Pretty much everybody knows that the Egyptians didn't call it that, but they're found with dead people, so they say the books of the dead, of the dead people. But the more apt title would be Rauniu Peret Imheru. With the word Rau is utterances, nu of Peret, the coming, Peret Imheru, by, and there's that preposition again, by, of, as, or whatever, Heru, day, literally day, daylight, as opposed to Gereh, which is nighttime, darkness. Okay, now that's not literal either. So don't think that somebody's, coming forth by daytime, literally. But these books, this particular book, the book, so-called Book of the Dead, is really a continuation of previous texts that have been labeled and segmented by scholars as well, called coffin texts, which are also part of a continuation of text that's been segmented and labeled as pyramid text. So you have pyramid text, coffin text, and then dead people's text. Even though pyramids, coffins, and these scrolls found, they're all dead, but they didn't call that the coffin dead, the coffin of the dead text, like they say Book of the Dead, or the pyramid of the dead text. They say pyramid text, they say coffin text. Why they gotta call this one Book of the Dead? But anyway, so those are continuations. So there's like a continual flow, and these so-called spells, as they call them, you'll find these spells in the Book of the Dead, as well as in the coffin text, as well as in the pyramid text. There's a lot of overlaps there, which indicates this continuation. Okay, and these things have rhyme or reason to them, and they're not literal, what some people may think.
Yeah. Another thing that I found interesting is that the Egyptologist often refers to things like the expression we translated at first as formulas instead of key expression, for example, or something like that.
Yeah,
Something that I found really interesting. Why they calling these formulas?
yeah, because let me just take this spotlight off. Okay, that way we can see. Yeah, formulas is another way. It's an alternative way of saying ritual, formula, because these are things that are spoken, and they felt that formula and the word spell kind of go together with magic. It kind of puts magic in people's heads, that something is said and then it's going to cause something to happen. These magical words that are uttered, formula to do this and that. All right. So if Emiket, if you could take over real quick, I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So, Chris, I know you said in the beginning that I think both you and St. June kind of like, we're looking at this text. What was it specifically that made you guys make you look into into this particular text?
Yeah, so I'm always looking for just to read. I like to read, so I kind of stumbled across it, and I've seen some of his work before, and I thought he went in and he actually transliterated and translated himself. I mean, some of it he did, but I have to say some of it came straight out of Faulkner. But that's fine. That's cool. You know, so I was just looking at what he was doing to try to see if he could, you know, get some conversation going between us, and maybe even he probably could join us one day. You know what I mean? And translating some text. So when I saw him do it, I was reading through it with him, but then I noticed that, you know, he missed about 2 columns of text. And, you know, I was like, whoa, wait, what's going on? You know, you left out at least three columns with some pertinent information in it. You know what I mean? So then Brother June was asking about a series of glyphs, the bread loaf, the seated man, and the seated woman. And then we kind of was tagging back and forth about what it means. So I was kind of giving my input as to what it was saying. And I left a comment to the brother and to the guy, and that was it.
Has he responded?
He did not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's like the second time. First time I looked at one of his videos, and again, my responses are always respectful, but you know, I ask a question from one translator to another one, and he never responded back.
Oh, that's interesting. So what was it about? Like, okay, I know he left out some parts of it, but was the ones that he mentioned, was there anything that, like, in particular, some stuff that you thought like were off in particular, like way off, that made you like, okay, I gotta ask, like?
Yeah, well, he said it took him 4 years to translate the whole Papyrus of Ani. I was like, man, 4 years?
I have a question too.
And then I was listening to some of his translations, and they're just straight from, you know, Faulkner. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but my thing is, if you're translating, if you're reading the glyphs, you know, truth be told, you can't come up with the exact same translation, you know. Yeah. I mean, because I mean, and if you read it and see, I mean, like we were doing, I mean, it's not, you can't come up with exactly the same translation, you know. There's gonna be some things translated a little bit differently.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So I'd like to ask the both of you, so when you guys study the Sesh and go through it and all like that, how do you guys organize your study times, or how rigorous is it? Basically, how do you guys go through it? How do you organize it outside of daily life, which we all live? I'm just curious about that.
Okay, St. Chris, you want to go fast? Oh.
Okay, to you. I'm kind of a taskmaster. I just Wujai said something some years ago that made sense to me. You pick something and you just slow down and you just go through it. You know, maybe do 3 lines a day, 3 sentences a day, maybe 5 sentences a day. And then at some point you find yourself getting faster, you know, faster at it. But just got to kind of just take the hammer and the chisel and just start just chipping away at piece by piece.
Mm.
And then again, you know, as you go through it more, you'll find yourself reading through it kind of quick, and you're okay, well, let me slow down a little bit. And then you can kind of appreciate it and try to do different translations and try to understand the implications behind the translation. And, you know, just don't be so fast to just go through and try to, you know, transliterate and translate a whole plate. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Indeed.
Right. Yeah, I would say exactly what St. Chris said. And then the other thing that I mean, I literally do have a schedule, like you know how people have a timetable for classes when they go to school. I have that, like from 6 in the evening on the weekdays, and then I have my weekends, whatever. But Sunday is no, that's like I don't do any studies. But from Monday up until Saturday, I do try as much as possible to, you know, reserve some time for studies. But, you know, obviously when you're studying alone, it's like kind of hard. But in the beginning, what helped a lot that makes this process easier for me now is that we kind of pushed ourselves as a group. Like we always had, I think, 2 meetings not the class meetings, but just people from the class. We would meet twice, sometimes once, but whenever we could, it would be twice a week. And whoever showed up is just private, and we go through like just freestyling. So you walk, you come into the sessions, like hang out back then, but it's like the Zoom sessions, and you find whatever inscription people have at that point. Everybody's just going through it, so we read as we go, and that kind of helps a lot. And then but then you also have to be very, very organized. And when you're on your own, you have to know, like, you have to kind of think of what is it, like, you have to know what your weakness is. Let's say like it takes you too long to look for words in the dictionary, so you might have to start spending just most times like working on making sure that you've mastered all the monoliterals, biliterals, and triliterals, so that you don't spend time trying to figure memorizing the Gardner code. So you might spend 2 weeks just doing that. And I remember St. June actually literally gave me 2 weeks to study and memorize all the biliterals. So I used that time just to kind of memorize all of that. So then that would speed up that part. And then after that, then you kind of like look at your next weakness. What is it that is slowing you down at that particular time? And you spend like 70% of your time, just of your study time, working on that particular weakness.
Yeah.
Until that weakness becomes a strength. But then you have to literally do it every day. Like if you don't do it every day, you're always going to be starting from scratch. So I just say that I have to do it, like, just like we just have time to sleep. So I do actually, if I can spend an hour, I might have to spend 20 minutes, but you have to kind of make it like a ritual, like something that you just do every day. So some days I might not be translating, but I might be just, looking for, just reading through some text and just going through what translations people have. Some other days I might just spend on like 2 lines of an inscription and just going through that and reading that. So usually you just, you're not in a rush, because it's like if you're trying to, get somewhere too fast, you're always going to be, starting from scratch. So the thing is just to make sure that every time you're trying to accomplish something that is personal to you, like that particular weakness, so that becomes like a milestone, as opposed to trying to be like everybody else. So that's my tip anyway. But yeah, and just study all the time. Basically, you can't, until you get to a point where you're very, very comfortable, you got to give it all the time you have.
Yeah, but did you have access to like Wajawu, and you could ask them questions and stuff like that? Or send Chris and stuff like that?
See, the thing is, we have as much access as to everybody as we can, but that doesn't really help you, because at the end of the day, you got to do the work, because we have like inboxes where we can ask, and then the meetings where everybody's going through stuff and then helping each other. But you can't really be asking like unless you kind of like ask all the time, but asking all the time doesn't make sense, because it's about studying all the time. And then when you hit that roadblock, then you can ask. And then usually we have like the inbox where you can you throw in a question and you're gonna get answers immediately from somebody.
Okay.
But yeah, but you don't want to ask all the time either. Because if you ask all the time, is like one of the things we learn is like then you don't somebody's microphone is on. Then you don't learn how to seek for the answers yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time, if you find, like, especially with Wujao, if you ask him all the time, he will just give you work to do, to go find the answer, so you get extra work. If he knows that it's something that's like that is like, okay, I'm not going to give you all the answers, like, because some things require you to actually look, because that's how like people learn, like the Sesh. So if he's asking where you really, really stuck, then he might help. But then if he's just asking like how people always be asking, like, so what do you think about this, so why can't I find this glyph and whatever, then he might actually prepare a whole work schedule for you to find extra words, so you learn how to look at all the words.
Okay. Because sometimes I'll just be feeling like I'm out there, and ain't nobody thinking like me or something like that. But I stayed digging in, and I got through it. So But
Oh,
it would be cool to just interact with people sometimes. Like my
oh, you're
yes,
breaking off a bit.
this what this channel.
Oh, you broke off a bit. You were saying something, but you broke off.
Oh no, I was just saying, do I?
Oh, there was something about you were having, like you would be difficult or something. You sometimes you feel like something, and
Yeah, because
I
when
didn't
you
hear the
get
rest.
stuck, like when you get, can you hear me? When you get
Yeah.
stuck sometimes, and then like, because I've been stuck a number of times, and then I get an F and get an F and get an F and just do a little common sense, you know what I'm saying, with myself, and then end up getting it right. But you know what I'm saying, it's just better when you have people in your lane or whatever, to talk to and go over it with, you know what I'm saying. It just makes things better, you know what I'm saying. That's all I'm
Do you
saying.
keep flashcards?
Yeah, I got the flashcards too. I'm working on it.
Okay.
Well, not just
So
the glyphs, but do you also have? Oh, I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, finish.
So not just with the glyphs, but like, do you have flashcards with? I mean, I have a whole stack of cards when I was first learning with words on them. I would write the word within the glyph, on the one side of the card, and then a transliteration on the other, on the reverse side. Grammar rules on flashcards. I used to do things like that.
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
Have you started the classes, like started like sessions, or you're just studying on your own at this point?
No, I'm studying on my own. I got the
Okay.
book and I rock with y'all.
Yeah, so that's then you're really doing good, because once the start, like formally start the classes, then it will, then it'll be a breeze for you. Because some of us actually started without knowing one single thing, you know. But then once you start, and then after that, I think then there's we do have like an inbox for all the students, and then you get to catch up, and then and then you have sessions like this that kind of help. But at the end of the day, regardless.
That's what I'm saying. Why am I left out of all that?
Oh,
What?
no, I think the classes there's no classes ongoing right now, but you probably will be in the next class, right? Like you have you're gonna start the beginners class.
I will for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that was a data. Yeah, yes, definitely. But Donnie, I don't know, cause you did you try to say something, because your mic is open but I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, I was looking for all that interaction that you talk about, but I'm not getting it.
Oh yeah, but that will come when with the classes, once the classes the beginners classes are started again, but I will still say this, like regardless of all that, all the work that you're gonna have to do, that you need to do, actually is gonna come from yourself, which is already like how you were saying, like you're the kind of person that literally knows how to study on their own, because most people don't know how to do that, but you have to kind of learn how to do that, because when you rely on like, okay, we got to be in groups and learn from other people, you can learn a lot, but it's the amount of work that you put when you're with the group, but then most of it also outside, when you're working on your own. And that's for me, that's how it kind of it worked out. Like you can be in groups, but not everybody in a group can be on the same learn at the same pace, so everybody will be putting different kinds of energy, from what I've observed.
I get it, and that's why I'm seeing it through, because I'm just seeing it through. So that's how you measure that.
Yeah, but with what Chris just said, like the flashcards are a lifesaver, because you know, and not just like not the monoliterals alone, like, and then you know, the biliterals, but you definitely need to, at this stage, you definitely need to start working on the biliterals, because that will speed up like your
I'm in the triliteral stage right now.
Oh, so
But
you good with all buys?
My argument is, let me try to go back and freshen it up.
Yes.
Not sounding emotional or anything like that. What I'm trying to say is, like, there's nobody I could, hey, is this right? You know what I'm saying? That part sucks.
Oh, okay.
It just, you know what I'm saying?
So, okay, so let me ask this. Are you translating at this point? Or you're just still studying through?
I'm just still studying. I'm not really tripping on translation.
So you haven't reached on like chapter 8 and
no, I'm on like 5.
Oh, so man, you're out here stressing all Ali and stuff.
Well, you know, I don't know.
Nah. Okay. No, I mean, okay. Well, keep doing what you're doing. Nah, because nah, that's way too early. So, man, but if you're on chapter 5 and you're doing what you're doing, so that's great, you know. But yeah, now it's too early to be stressing about that, unless, but you know, like, okay, you can always you are on the Sesh, on the Seshu Facebook page, right?
Nah, no. Y'all gotta let me in.
Nah, have you? What you mean we gotta let you in? Have you requested?
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You out here complaining about I ain't got people, but that's where we are.
And when you see my name, Don, just let me in. Y'all haven't let me in yet. I tried.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. Can we just find you right now? Just give me a second. Because okay, in there you can always ask any kind of questions. Like you know, let's see.
No, let's not do that right now. I'm not a Facebook person, man.
Oh man, you're tricking me, right? Okay, but okay.
I'll do that.
Okay, but okay, so most of us are like on Facebook, so, and the groups are like, will be like on the Facebook and then the messenger inboxes. So that's where, so yeah. So, because you got everybody from all different places, you know? And that's like the one place where everybody can meet up and then, you know, so I'm trying to think of how we, you know, if there's outside of that, oh yeah, we do also have like, not a lot of people are active, but on Seba University and on Sesh Medew Netcher, there are groups. There's groups where you could join and then you can ask questions there as well, but it's, you know, we don't have everybody there active yet. But the goal is to have everybody active, really active there, because like you said, like I think you don't like Facebook so much. So that would be a good opportunity. But it would just get on Facebook at least. So we can get to, you know, because that I don't know how we, you know, we can get the whole group support outside of it.
But anyway, that was just my little spill. Let's not make a big deal. But
okay, no. But yeah, so but regardless, you still you know, you're kind of prepping a little bit early, but you're still early on to stress so much about it at the end of the day. But yeah, but also try to make sure you get on at least on Facebook just for that purpose anyway, and not use it for anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
That is, it's been a great experience to be with you, especially because you are experienced in dealing with both the culture and the language itself. And I will, as soon as possible, join the classes, because although I'm kind of used to deal with it, but it's not, one thing is to do it alone, trying to scratching things, find out by my own, and another thing is which a supervision of somebody who which already done the work.
Yeah, that is true. See, because and that's literally why we try to do as much as we can on YouTube as well, because just to kind of like have people know, you know, and get into that routine of, you know, just doing things in groups and learning and seeing what stages people are, and then you can, you know, just kind of like have that communal kind of learning environment. But you can't really get it so much like 100%, but at least we try to do that outside of, you know, the different classes and the different class groups that are there. So it's just, you know, I think that's as far as it can go. But yeah, you know, you take advantage of what we have, like the YouTube stuff, you know, at least, because when we started out, there wasn't even this kind of stuff going on. The only ones we kind of, I remember I started watching was the ones that Seba Ujao and Asa Emotep and Sanjeri and Jonathan Owens, you know, was doing when they had these sessions once in a while where they were going through glyphs and just going through the whole inscription and having discussions. It wasn't so much going, but that's kind of, I think, what motivated most of us that started the first group, you know, to get going and doing. And then we were like, okay, let's do that, and then do, you know, learn and show people like how we are learning live so they can see like our progress. But yeah, so that's why we kind of put these kind of things so people can, you know, interact and learn without even taking the, you know, taking the classes, but just going through the YouTubes and learning with, you know, and being part of the panel and testing all that stuff out before they literally learn. So that's the best that can be done. And then after that, everybody has to kind of make that personal journey.
Yeah, the best thing of it is that the people can see that it's possible to learn. It's usual when we reach some teacher of another culture, it looks that the number of glyphs, for example, 700 at least at first, and then 2,000 at the other, at more expanded number. It looks like at the first time as something possible to do, especially with a culture with usually is not as close to us as it's been, for example, in this channel. So when you do something like this, you at the same time make the culture more accessible, and shows that it is possible to deal with even in the low pace, in a low rhythm, but it's possible to get in the stage which we can translate, we can deal with the text as we deal with another text, as Greek language or Latin language, for example. It's the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, go ahead, Donnie, before I continue.
No, I'm listening. I don't know why he got cut off.
Oh, okay. And I'm saying, okay, so since you've been like, now you're in the process of taking the class, and for anybody on the panel, like from what you've seen and you've tried out, what other suggestions do you think, or what do you think would make you study, you know, propel your learning quicker at this point?
Well,
Was me?
definitely,
Yeah, anybody, but Sandoni can go first.
I'm definitely seriously about it, but you know, the interaction I think is important. So then I would turn around and ask you, like, what was your best? How did you learn the best? You know what I'm saying? You had like a team around you. You had Ujaru and all these other people. You know what I'm saying? Like a think tank.
Oh, no, it doesn't work like that.
No, it don't.
No. Okay, but go ahead, Duari, so that I can, you know, explain that.
Yeah, I think the part of the interaction certainly is a thing, because not in itself, but because it is a kind of a fuel of drive to continue to do the work. Because I already deal with the Greek language, for example, and they don't have classes as we have in English and in German and etc. But we learn the basics, and then each person, according to the interesting, go to the strive in the text they whatever they like, or whatever the topic they like, and the practice itself will improve your knowledge. But even in that path, it's great to have somebody to speak about to give a tip on something which we got stuck sometimes. So to be with someone which is in the path of translating, of dealing with the struggle, is great, because it maintains the fire high, the fire of the will to continue to do the work.
Yeah. So, but let me just summarize, because I've just to kind of help help anybody that has the same issue when it comes to learning, because I am the kind of person who learns different things, multiple things at the same time. And usually what I find, I usually use the same system for everything, and that is like when you're learning something, and especially when you're dealing with languages, because I even just, for example, like coding and things like that, I don't have a coding teacher. I literally had to learn that on my own, and learning also like other languages like Danish. Those are things that you kind of learn on your own, that I had to do on my own. But I've usually used the same system, and that is, you always want to sit down and actually you create sort of a curriculum for yourself. You have to kind of know how to figure out what you want, like in a short term, which would be like a month, where but you kind of start from from a broader perspective, where it's like, where do you want to be probably at the end of the year? If somebody tells you that whatever it is you're doing is going to take a year, then you plan for a year. If somebody tells you that what you're trying to study might take 6 months, so that would be your long term, your 6 months goals. You make that plan, and then you start breaking down, like to get to that 6 months, you have to kind of start figuring out what are you going to need to do, for every 2 months or every 3 months, and then for every month, and then you go down to every week, and then you start working on a you build your own schedule, and for every week, what do you need to do to finish what you need to accomplish by the month? And then when you do that, then you know what you're going over for the second month or for the third month. But you have to be good at creating like building a curriculum for your own self. And then you have to be what is the word? No, you have to have self accountability, where you make sure that whatever it is you plan to do for the week, you finish that for the week. If something happened where you didn't finish it for the week, then you have to make sure you know how to transfer that to the other week, and then make sure that it doesn't conflict with other with the other goals that you have. So you have to kind of like, you have to be your own teacher and your own student at the same time. When you learn to do that, you will always sometimes get help from other people will always be good, but you yourself, you'll also be your own teacher, where like, okay, this is how I need to structure, and this is how I need to research, and if I'm stuck here, this is how I need to go and find the answers to what I need. And then everything else that comes with it, it becomes a bonus. And it's not something that if it's not there, then you can't work, because then it will mean that anything you want to accomplish, if you don't have the people around you, you can't do it, and you should be able to do that by your own. So that kind of just to make you understand that having access to like this issue and the group pages and all the other live sessions, like maybe you listen to a particular show here and there, that's all good, but you need to be able to just make things work for yourself. So that would be the greatest tip I would say, because that has made it easy for me to do things like whether it's learning a new language or whatever, and it's not like you're handicapped if you don't have access to people around you. Just learn to build a curriculum, and then chop each and every task one at a time. And you don't look at what you're going to do for the next month. It's like that's not even part of it. You only look at what you're supposed to do in the immediate time. And when you do that, then you're always just chopping and canceling off one thing at a time as you accomplish them.
Yeah, that's a sorry.
I was just gonna say that is so important, and this is something like all she's doing is fortifying. You know what I'm saying? What I know, and that's a good thing because it's like rocks. Like you have rocks, you have pebbles, and you have sand. When you think about your time, you have to, okay, your rocks are your things you gotta do. They know, what I'm saying? They know dancing around it. This is you gotta do your dentist appointments, your bills, whatever, and then those are your rocks. And then you have like your pebbles. Your pebbles are like things you want to do. I want to go on that date, or I want to read this book, or how that stuff goes. And then your sand is the things that just, to me, you can really just leave alone. But you got to start looking, prioritize your life in that kind of way, if that makes some sense to whoever's listening.
Two.
Yeah, and the that scheme you showed, Kat, is great because it build a discipline, and at the same time confident itself, because it is a thing we struggle with in believing, which we can learn something alone, or we struggle with in having the discipline to do it every day. So the method you mentioned is great to build that discipline and build that agency, and that makes we believe in our capacity to do it, and in some time, at moment we know that we will learn, and we will improve.
Yes, absolutely. And not get distracted. And that's why if you have that kind of system, it's really good, because what happens is, let's say you want to learn Spanish, and then and you have built, like somebody told you it's going to take you 3 months. And then that the first month you probably just need to go to learn the vocabulary. You don't even need to know, then then they'll say, okay, then the second month you might actually say, then I will need to move on to phrases and things like that, of that nature. And then on the third month, now I need to be able to put those together and start conversating. So what you would do in the first month, in your head, you're not even thinking about the phrases and the sentences. All you need, to help you not get distracted, in your head, all you need to know is that learning Spanish, the only thing about it is vocabularies. Once I've learned it, I've accomplished that. That kind of stops you from looking into things that you're not ready to achieve yet, like for the second month or the third month, because people try to rush sometimes and do things like that. So you only focus on learning the vocabulary, and that's all Spanish is in your world in that first month. That's all it's all about. So it makes it easy for you to kind of be like, okay, I don't have a lot to do. I have little to achieve what I need to achieve. So then you can be better focused, and then you learn all your vocabularies. And then once that is settled, where at the end of the month, you're like, okay, I'm good to go with this. Then you kind of go to the next step. Now you need to learn putting them into phrases and things like that. And in that second month, you're not even thinking about, literally talking or conversating in Spanish. You're thinking like, once I learn the phrases, that's all there is in Spanish, and I will accomplish. Or it's kind of like tricking your brain to think that is the end goal. So that way you don't look further than that at that point to get distracted. And if you use that with every other system, you can literally be, stay focused and in the lane where you're supposed to be, without looking further, until you kind of become a master of that lane. And you never move past that until you become a master of the level where you are.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great.
So I would ask, like, when making words or phrases and stuff like that, they're pretty much like, there's what's the word? Like it's always repetitive, kind of to a point.
Mhm.
And then once you start recognizing that pattern, you could just, you could get it down and you know what it is. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, if anybody else has any tips, I don't want to, hog the whole conversation. But we've been, going for I guess 2 hours or so. So anybody who has any last tips, and then we can close out. Because yeah.
A tip that which I learned from a friend of mine is to reserve at least 10 minutes a day. If you can do it as religiously, as Wujao like to say, if you can do the religious as at least 10 minutes a day, it's a good thing to do.
Yep. But I think everybody on this panel is pretty much, hip to all the, study, dedication, time, and all that stuff. So that's good. But for those who are listening, those are our tips basically. And I know for St. Chris, he's been studying for a while now, so he knows, what it takes and all that stuff. And I know St. Chris also has tutored and things of that nature. So, so his tips were, I could say those are completely valid and solid to take. But yeah, if anybody else doesn't have anything to add, I guess we will call it a night. And that was an interesting freestyle.
Yeah, dual.
Yes. So you're welcome. And we'll try to get you on Facebook though. And Danny. So I guess that will be it. I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to close this out since I was left to talk and be MC Island for today.
I know that. You got to handle it. So
yes,
okay.
But okay. So for those listening in, we really appreciate you guys tuning in, and we hope to see you again next week on Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday for our Divine Words Wednesday, where we do have, but if something goes down before that, you might see us by Itong. We hope not, but we will see you on Wednesday and on Friday. So I would say, yes, okay. And get in the set to those in the night.